So today you have different sets of confession for me, but also I want to get this really out of the way first. You just came back from Taiwan.
Yes.
It was a near-death encounter for you.
I was there in Taiwan on 27th of March till 5th April. Before I flew to Taiwan, we went ahead to book the tour for Taroko Gorge because we have a firm and confirmed date. But when we checked the schedule on the tour site, miraculously, the date for April 1st to 3rd is sold out.
Is there anyone here? What did you find?
You are listening to Supernatural Confessions.
I still remember it was 7:58 in the morning. I was already back in Taipei. My wife woke me up and she said, "Hey, why are the curtains swaying from left to right?" Seconds later, the building shook violently. The building shook for almost a minute. After that, it stopped. But 15 minutes later, 6.5 magnitude hit again. And this time it start shaking over again. Subsequently, from the 3rd of April all the way to the end of my trip, in total, the news counted that the earth shook more than 700 times.
Do you think at any point in time the change in date was attributed to something a bit more divine?
I would say it would be a divine intervention, because on the dates that I wanted, the 2nd and the 3rd, we text the tour agency to say it wasn't available.
But it was available before.
It was available before.
And how long was it between the time you saw it was available to the point you decide that you want to book, that there was a sudden switch?
I would say 48 hours.
So I just want to get this very clear. There were available slots, lots of it, from what you mentioned to me just now, right? Lots of available slots. There was no problem getting those dates. Within 48 hours, not available.
That's right.
However, there was one particular picture you showed me of a very beautiful gorge. There's a temple to one side, and you said the entire cliff face is totally gone. It has collapsed. But yet, the temple remained untouched. Tell me about that.
The temple was, couldn't remember the story clearly, but it was built like a memorial to those who have built the highway back in the 40s. It's because inside the temple, I remember there was a mini shrine, and then there was a tablet with 200 over names. It acts like a memorial for them. From what I know from the guide, it's like they are spiritual entity guarding the place. It's quite a miracle. Even the news also mentioned like the rest of the area is like completely destroyed, but the temple grounds and the surrounding is like completely untouched. It's like an invisible force shield just blocking it.
And this isn't the first time that we hear of places of worship that were protected. If you remember in Singapore, there was a big fire in the Yishun temple. The entire temple was gutted. The inner sanctum untouched by fire. So we have heard of things always like that, which is short of calling it a miracle. Is there a supernatural explanation or a totally rational explanation?
To me, there will be no rational explanation to this. To skeptics, probably they will say like, oh, it's pure coincidence.
Sure. The easiest way out, isn't it?
But for those who are into the spiritual realm, probably they will know that God will intervened and prevented anything happen to his home.
Well, I'm glad that you are back safe and sound in Singapore. Close shave. Does it give you nightmares?
Oh, I still get PTSD from him.
Right. So what do you have for us this time around? Because you mentioned the word PTSD. I didn't want to ask too much questions. I said, calm down, we're going to have wine, and let's chat.
This is the first time I ever sharing it for over 30 years. I stayed in Yishun from 1988 up to around 2014. My dad was in the police force, so he usually do the night shift, and he's hardly at home. My grandpa also did the night shift. My uncle, he stayed in the 3rd room, so my uncle also hardly at home. So most of the time it's just me and my mom. There were 3 incidents that happened in this house. The first one, it happened in 1991. My mom works at the coffee shop near the home. My late aunt would come by at night to take care of me. So remember those old HDB, when you look out the window, there's just extended ceiling.
Second floor, the fifth floor, and the 10th floor, they had like the corridor walkway, and that became the extended ceiling, is that it?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so like if you were staying on the 5th floor or the 4th, you would be affected by that big 5-foot way shelter.
Yes, because we are on the last floor, on 13.
Okay.
And during the daytime, the master room wasn't that well lit also. So at night, when my aunt took care of me, before she took notice, from young, I can see already. So I was looking out the window, and through the extended ceiling, I saw a figure hanging over the ceiling, looking into the master room. So for that good few minutes, I was just looking at it, like, wonder what is it. I just tell my aunt, like, Koko. Then she looked out the window, because my late aunt can see as well. So she looked out the window and she saw the same exact figure that I mentioned. She just left me in the room and she went downstairs to get my mom. I can't believe it. It was the longest 10 to 15 minutes wait for my mom to come back home with her. So that period of time I was just looking out at that thing like, what is it? Because you can really see the human shape hanging over the ceiling, just looking straight in the master room.
So I'm trying to understand the imagery of it. When you say hanging over, I'm imagining you are on the 12th floor. So it would be someone on the 13th floor hanging over the ledge and peeping under. So what you would see is like an upside down head and perhaps part of the shoulder.
We are on the last floor already. 13 is the last.
Yeah.
So what's upstairs is just the roof and the water tanks.
There should be nobody because the
No.
water tanks will be, the gate to the water tanks are usually locked, and you saw a child
A
or
man.
teenager, a man. Okay. How does that thing look?
You can clearly make out it's really a man hanging over the edge itself.
Smiling, expression, eyes,
Faceless.
faceless,
Faceless void.
hair.
No. None at all. It's just an entity.
Okay.
Second one took place a couple of years later when I started primary school. So that will take you up to 1997. I remember I came back home late at night with my parents. We went out. So we came back around 10 plus at night. For me to get the 13th, we had to reach the 12th floor, then take the stairs up. You know, as a kid, you like to look down the staircase. It looked like infinity, that view. It looked so nice. So when I approached the staircase, I saw through the gap. So on the 10th floor, I saw the back of a lady in white with mid-length hair. So I was thinking to myself, like, hey, it's so late already. What is that Jie doing by herself at the staircase? So when I reached midway up the staircase, before reaching the 13th floor, I look out again. This time, the lady was doing the same action as I do, looking out the staircase. Her head switched.
Oh my God.
Her head literally switched to face me, and I can see the expression on her face. It wasn't human at all. The eye socket was dark. The mouth is just an open void of darkness. So she just turned. I ran out of the staircase as fast as I could, and I went straight back home. This image lasted, like, it just kept inside my head for quite a long while.
Did she continue haunting you after that?
No. After that incident, I dare not even look down the stairwell.
So it seems like most of these spirits, they're just there. They know you can see them and they sort of acknowledge your presence as you do theirs. But they don't ever come to you, they don't go into the house, nothing.
The house, I will start with the block first.
Okay.
Because when we first moved into this block, it's near Khatib. In the 1988, it wasn't really that populated. So the only family I know of is the Malay family just beside us. The other one is a Hong Kong family. We know the family and the daughter because she go to the same school as me. Other than that, Even during the weekdays or the school holiday, I play by myself along the corridor. The whole block was pretty empty. From outside you can see there are people residing in it. But once you enter the block itself, it just feels empty. It's like you walk past each household, the windows are closed, the doors are closed. There's no human presence. It feels abandoned. But back to the house itself, there was 2 incidents. One is I was alone by myself, just watching the TV. Behind me was just the main door. I heard a small knock. I looked through the peephole. I saw the long corridor. No one was outside. The next stupidest thing I did was open the main door. Open the door and check.
Typical Hollywood, this one.
Yeah.
We'll die first.
The second incident, it wasn't too late. It was just 6:30 in the evening. My grandpa had left for work at 6. My dad was at home, my mom was at home. We were just watching TV. From my grandpa's room, we all of us saw, including my mom and my dad, the light turned on by itself. You can hear the switch like that. Skeptic will say, must be the EMF. Must be the switch faulty.
Switch faulty, the light will turn on by itself, I get it. It will not be a because that's a physical move.
Yes.
And this is the old school 80s HDB, is the switch is quite stiff one.
Last time you need a bit of force to push it, like to hear the tap.
Yeah.
So it turned on. We look at the door like, grandpa forgot to off the light. Okay lah, my dad being the bravest and being the skeptic, he go and off it. He opened the door, he off it. Then he say, must be the light faulty. But I can see the fear in his eyes, like thinking, it definitely did not turn on by itself.
And when he came out, he sat down.
We just continue watching TV.
Or pretend nothing happened.
Then nothing happened.
And the lights didn't go on again.
No.
Okay.
It didn't. Yeah.
See, that's why it's easy to pretend that it's everything but the hantu, because it doesn't repeat itself. Because you can imagine going on the room, seeing no one, turning it off, closing the door, walking out, and then that's scary and harder to pretend.
I think if I were to happen to me like now in the modern time, I would just GTFO already. I wouldn't even want to switch it off. I'll just go to the main switch, the SB, and just turn off the entire power grid. So this happened, I would say around 1999. So me and my uncle was playing just video games outside till late, past midnight. His friend was inside his room. Then after that, the friend say, "Hey, it's late. I gotta go back." So my uncle paused again and say, "I send my friend home first. Then we come back to continue." I said, "Okay, can I wait for you in the bedroom?" Then so they left, and I just went back to the room, lay down on the bed, and waited. A couple of minutes later, I thought I heard of like door opening. I thought it was the main door. I thought he came back home. So I went out of the master room just to check out the living room, like odd. His room light is still on. Game console is still on. But where did I hear the door opening from?
It could have been the sound coming from the neighbor closing the door, and because it's late at night, sound travels, and therefore you feel like it's coming from your main door, right?
Yes, it could be also.
Sure. Let's go with that.
The next thing is, I heard the same sound again. This time, I went to open the master's door first to do a quick check, like to ensure, there's really nothing outside. Oh, what is this I'm hearing? So I closed the door. The moment I shut the master's door, I heard the sound again. But this time it sounded like footsteps. But it was coming in the direction from the storeroom, which is on my left. If it's in this direction, it's on my left. This time I never opened the door. I peeped under the door ledge. So I look on my left, nothing. I see my uncle's room. I see the main door and the prayer altar. Then when I scanned back and forth in the middle, and there it was. The moment I looked back like this, it came down in this motion.
Yeah.
I can see it landed in front of the door. I can see very clearly it's a pair of red heels, and it's the red cheongsam with those kind of like golden phoenix embroidery on it.
That close up, that clear, and that detail.
Yes. So this is the ledge. This is the entity.
Less than 30 cm.
Less than 30 cm. I can see the details on the skin tone on the leg. It's like dark skin tone, dark tan. Probably a lady in her late 40s to her 50s. You can see the veins on it. It started, I was saying, like a glide forward, forward towards the kitchen direction.
Oh, so you see it landing side profile lah,
Side profile.
and then it start to move off.
Yes. So it started to glide off slowly. At that point of time, I know you guys been thinking, this fella has 3 options. Open the door, scream, hide in bed.
I'll go with hide in bed.
I went for the first option.
Open door.
I opened the door again.
This one will die first in any horror movie.
I even stepped out to see the direction it went off.
So the thing was moving lah. You could, when you open the door, you saw the entity moving off.
Yes, it faded into the wall or somewhere.
Peeping, leg come down, saw veins, skin tone, embroidery, red heels, red cheongsam. Decided to open door. Open door, you would have seen the back of the entity just moving off. Cheongsam, long hair, everything. And then it faded out of existence.
So I literally saw her just fade right through at that corner. I went by the bed. Took the blanket and covered myself. My heart was beating so fast, you know. I was drenched in like cold sweat, thinking like, what did I just witness? So I was shivering in bed, covering in fear. Near the edge of my bed, I felt that my blanket, I felt someone taking a tight grips on the blanket and pulling it off slowly. I can feel the blanket sliding off. I don't know where I got the courage. I got up, I looked at it, like whatever is pulling my blanket.
You woke up to see what's grabbing your blanket.
Yes.
What was it?
I couldn't make it out, but I can see the edge. There was a tight grip on the blanket and pulling off. So I folded it back. If normal circumstances, when you pull back the blanket, it should be quite easy.
Yeah.
But when I pulled back the time, there was quite a bit of force.
Okay.
So I had to literally force it back and cover it.
Physically, that's how it's going to look like. There's a hand coming out from under the bed, grabbing the blanket from the foot area, pulling it down. And then you pull it back. So you could see and feel the tension between that hand holding the blanket and you pulling it back.
Even though we off the light, we do get the lighting from the opposite block. It still seep in the room. So I still can make it out like what was grabbing onto it.
Because if it's stuck onto something and you pull, you could feel the difference as opposed to someone is actually holding it and pulling it back and forth.
That's right.
And you didn't look under the bed and check it out. Because you opened door one, right? You are the type who will, let's find out what's under the bed. What?
This time I didn't. I took the blanket, I went back to sleep. Because it's too much already.
Okay.
This one is too much. I literally woke up the next morning drenched in cold sweat.
Your family was religious because they had the Kuan Yin statue and all that. Which I would make the assumption that you would have gone to temple. You may be privy to trancing or drinking of the talisman water, which was quite the rage in the 80s and 90s. Exam time, have to drink talisman water, drink talisman water, right? Did that happen in your family as well? No, not so hardcore.
Thankfully, not so hardcore.
Okay, so there was no solution for you anyway.
No. The house was just left as it was. After we moved out, 13 years after staying in that place, my mom asked me like, hey, if there's ever a chance, do you want to ever move back or visit that haunted house.
She actually said the haunted house.
Yes.
So that means your parents know lah.
My parents knew because they themselves also had encounters in the house.
But they never tell you. They never told you at all. So, but how did the conversation between you and mom came out with regards to the house being haunted, and then you knew that she knew? So when did that happen?
Happened probably about two years ago. I had a chance to go back Khatib for an event. After that, I thought I got some time, make the stupid decision to visit that old place again. Nostalgic. So I went back to the same old block. There used to be 2 lifts. Now there's only 1. And the 13th floor now has an extended platform. So the lift now goes all the way to the 13th.
So after this interview, you're going to give me the address. I'll go and make my way there. And I'm going to knock on the door of the same unit that you used to stay and check with the resident to see if he, she, they, them have encountered anything.
The current tenant has stayed there for quite a long time. Because each time we bypass, we see, it's still occupied. But from what I know, my Malay neighbours, every few years, it keep changing hands. They didn't say what exactly make them move out lah, because they just left in a hurry.
Maybe their place is haunted. What you receive from your house is the leftover residual stragglers around the area.
Well, probably because I ever visit their home before.
Oh.
Even in the daytime, the house still feels dimly lit, like very dark. There's no sunlight inside.
So, ladies and gentlemen, those who lived or still living in Khatib, if you have any stories to tell, or you know this is the old block, what Ezekiel is sharing right now, and it's your block, please reach out to us. I'm happy to hear from you. My number is 94594931, area code +65. So drop me a text message.
If CCTV inside the house exists back then, that would be even more fun. I would have captured a lot of things inside.
Yeah.
Listening to Supernatural Confessions.